Hey button pushers, my name is Nick and welcome back to the life and suffering of Sir Brante. We've tried it through gut feeling alone, it didn't work. We've tried it through revolting, and I mean it worked. I basically destroyed the world. Theoretically, I burnt everything to the ground, literally and metaphorically, and created a barren wasteland of lawlessness and despair, so I kind of won, I guess. This time, we are going to take a slightly different approach. This time, we are going to go for the Lot of the Clergy. Now, I have two options with this. I can either go Lot of the Clergy, and I can be stalwart and stick to the old ways, and we will push the old faith until our dying day. Or we can give way to the rise of the new faith and start pushing that. I'm going to do both of the playthroughs, but I think I'm probably going to do Old Faith first, and then we'll come back and do New Faith. Either way, the childhood, adolescence is going to be the same for both, so we'll do that this time, and then Old Faith. We'll start on the Old Faith. I'm not going to get all of it done in one video, because it would be a ridiculous video. Childhood, adolescence, youth, and probably start peacetime in this one, and then next time we'll get it finished off, and then when we do New Faith, we'll just start at youth from the moment we've joined the clergy. So, let's go be born all over again, shall we? So I've looked at it. When it gets to youth, I need to have theology and eloquence both be at a level 10 or higher. So to do that, I need to make sure I have perception, spirituality, and determination. They're the three I need to go for. And for this playthrough, I don't need to worry about Sophia, so before I had kind of growing up, I was thinking, okay, I need to make sure I stick to my willpower because I'm going to need to rescue Sophia because that improves our relation. I think my path will cross with Sophia in this one, but in no way is it going to be to the extent of being in the lot list, but we'll see. So I have been born, and as I open my fresh baby eyes for the first time, I see three figures in front of me. A soft open palm, a strong closed fist, and a lingering, distant shadow. So I want to see the consequences, obviously. So we've got perception, if I do to reach out to the palm, which is mother. Reach out to the fists. I don't know if I've ever done that, or smile at the shadow, which is willpower. Okay, so perception or determination. I'm going to kick this off with some determination. The fist is stiff, coarse, and even unpleasant at the touch. But this firm hand belongs to your father. A tiny newborn, you're helpless before the full-grown man. Your little hand practically challenges him and his strength, and he accepts the challenge. Your father's fist opens. His hand strokes your little hand gently, if somewhat awkwardly. It's a tender gesture, a glimpse into something he will seldom let show in the years to come. In my mind, I need to keep what would a member of the clergy do in these decisions. I'm going to keep that with me until through my childhood. Yeah, so I've been playing hide and seek with Stefan and Gloria, and they've left me in a bush. I've got a little freaked out because I'm literally a baby and they put me in a bush. So I can sit there. I think I'm going to sit there and wait, which is what I did on my main playthrough. So they just sit there, play with bugs, and then Mama comes along and goes, "Oh, there you are, in a bush, rascals." But I get perception out of it, so nice. So the Great Descent, me and Gloria have been locked in a room during the Great Descent, and Gloria's singing the prayers to the twins. And obviously, as a future member of the clergy, I'm obviously going to finish the song properly, because why wouldn't I? A little bit of extra perceptione. Interesting. So I'm going to be punished by Mother because I hit Stefan, and Stefan Noble, me common, that bad. I want to demand an explanation, or deny my. Oh, actually, I wanted to deny my guilt because that gets my determination. But it's not the clergy thing to do. I would have accepted my punishment. Nah. I'm going to deny my guilt, if only for the determination. And I've never done it before. So why not? You break out of your mother's arms and start screaming. You're innocent, you cry. And if he hits you, you'll hit him back. All fear and shame are gone. You stand up straight and stare defiantly into Mother's eyes. Her expression grows bitter. She catches you by the collar of your shirt and drags you down the stairs. I'm doing this for your own good. Do not defy me, Niklaus. You were born a commoner, my son. Power and will is not your lot, that is Stefan's lot. He'll become a noble soon. Life for you and me is humility and suffering. You have to accept it. You're flogged in front of your entire family. The pain burns on your skin again and again. You clench your teeth and hold back tears. This is the only way you can prove that you are your brother's equal. It's the only way you can prove that one day you will have the right to rule and fight. I'm still finding my way. So Gloria's got in trouble for writing poems after being specifically told to stop writing poems because it's not her lot in life. So I'm going to offer to write rhymes with her to get my perception up a little bit more, which we've done that before. So we go and secretly write rhymes together, and then that's it. It's just nice, a nice wholesome bit of story. Okay, Nathan's been born. He's one of those babies that just cries all the time. I have gone in to see Mother, and she's kind of snapped at me, and it looks she's like shaking the baby, and you don't ever shake babies. So I'm going to redirect her anger to myself, which is what I did in the main playthrough. At the moment, I'm kind of going for trying to increase perception and determination kind of equally. I don't know if that's the right thing to be doing, but it's what I'm doing. So you draw her attention over, she gets really annoyed and slaps you in the face, and then Dad kind of comes in and calms the situation down and says he's real proud of you for trying to step in. Toy soldiers, we've gone to a toy shop to celebrate me starting school like the big boy that I am. I found a toy I wanted. A noble child wanted the same toy. He pushed me, I pushed him. There was crying, and now there's anger. So I am going to tell Father the truth, that I repaid the impotent boy in kind. It isn't fair to blame you without letting you speak too. You didn't want to shove that stupid boy. He was the one who shoved you first. But the angry nobleman, the boy's father, will not let you finish. Nobody cares a whit for your so-called truth, little lowborn. The law is the law, and your punishment is due. Your father nods in agreement to these words, no matter how sad they make him. They lead you and the nobleman's son out of the shop. You're told to bow to him and show humility. A bad feeling sends a shiver down your spine. With a satisfied grin on his face, the boy swings his arm and slaps you on the cheek. He strikes you again and again. Enough. He got what he deserved. We're leaving. Get out of our way. Your head is swimming from the heavy blows. You return to your senses back in your bed, with servants treating your face. Father stays by your side all day. The morning after, you find the little box on your bed with the tin soldiers of the Holy Order inside. You paid dearly for your stubbornness. But I've got determination, so there's that. Ooh, Father's Sword. I have never had this one before because my determination has never been high enough. Go me. I was not going for determination on this playthrough, but okay. Well, like the determination things. Obviously I was going for determination. I made a big point of saying that at the beginning. When Father's not working long hours, you often see him spending long stretches of time in the backyard, practicing his fencing. You're allowed to watch, but that's it. You're forbidden from touching a sword, let alone actually learn how to fight with it. It's a new day today, and Father's been busy in his study since the early morning. Mother took Gloria and Nathan to the shops. Your studies are done for today. The house is empty. You spot Father's sword hanging by the yard door. He must have left it there by accident after a training session. You deliberate at first, then grab the sword with resolve and run outside. At last, you have a chance to see it up close. It's a small sword used for dueling, heavy and devoid of any ornamentation. You recall that it was made specifically for him. The weapon's quite difficult to handle. Its heft makes the palm of your hand shake. As you get used to it, you try your best to imitate Father's feints. Your technique leaves much to be desired, but at least it's something. You imagine yourself fighting for the family's honour as the thin blade slices through the air. But you swing too far back. The blade nicks your shoulder and cuts through your shirt, staining the fabric crimson. The sword falls to the ground with a dull clang. You try to apply pressure to the wounds to make it stop bleeding, but all you do is make the blood flow faster. Niklaus, what are you doing here? The familiar voice hurts you more than the cut of the sword. Father walks up to you briskly. His rugged arms rip off a length of cloth and bandage your shoulder. He squats by your side and pulls you into an awkward embrace. My son, why did you have to take the sword? You know you're not supposed to hold it. This is no toy. It's a weapon that can take lives. I know how you feel. I used to learn from my father's dueling sword back when I was a lad. One day, you might have a chance to earn the right to carry a weapon. But first, you must have patience and study and become a noble. When the day comes, I will be proud to teach you myself. You rarely spend time with Father without someone else around. There is paternal love in his voice, so much that even the cut on your shoulder barely hurts now. You would be glad to be convinced by what he says. But how can you forget your dream? How can you abandon it just to earn Father's approval? Is it right for him to ask you to do as much? So I can agree with Father. I get some willpower, which is probably handy because I currently have 0 willpower. Or I can ask Father to teach me the basics, which gets me some determination, which is good. And it gets me my fencing lesson destiny, so why not? Father's inquisitive look presses you for an answer. It takes you a long time to muster enough courage to speak. You beg him to teach you how to fight, at least the very basics. It will certainly come in handy in the future. It will be your first step towards becoming a nobleman. Now, it takes Father a long time to respond. He is about to speak, and you expect a refusal, but he says nothing. He draws a sharp breath again, but remains quiet. Then, finally, he offers you the sword. But remember this, Niklaus. You are not a warrior. Not yet. You will study this like you study your lessons. He teaches you the first lesson right away. You learn to dodge attacks. There are several times when the tip of your blade cuts the air dangerously close to your nose. It is scary and difficult. You manage it. From this day forth, Father teaches you the foundations of sword fighting in great secret. You use your passion for tree climbing to explain the cuts you receive during training. Soon, you will learn how to hold your own in a duel. But will you ever need this art in real life? Not on this playthrough, but maybe in the future. Achievement! Cool, you dare to study fencing like your father, even though you have no right to it by birth. Gregor Brante is coming to town. Whoop, 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 whoop. So, the intrusion. So, Gregor Brante has come home and has been a dick to everyone and said, "Oh, this house is rubbish. Blah." And he's seen my tin soldiers that I got beaten half to death for, and he's thrown them in the fire because I am a common child, and how dare I have fun things. While this isn't the most holy of options, I am going to strike Grandfather, because it gets me determination and perception. And, okay, it kills me, but if my law of Sir Brante is correct, which after about 30 hours of playing it, it should be, once you join the church, you can't get reborn, I believe. So it doesn't matter how many times I've died. Hopefully I'm not going to regret this, but we'll give it a go. Overwhelmed by helpless rage, you run into Grandfather and kick him in the leg with all the strength you can muster. Yet, he is immovable. The next thing you see is him leaning, towering over you menacingly, his heavy walking stick in hand. "Low-born scum! How dare you raise a hand to me?" The blow hits home. That was one hell of a crunch. The handle of the walking stick is as heavy as a rock. You're dazed, robbed of both hearing and sight. Down comes another blow. A sharp pain splits your head, then darkness. Your hand twitches against your will, then again and again, like it's trying to catch a flying butterfly. And then you fall into the primordial void. The void takes away a part of you, one of the lives you were given to live. It will never return. There is pain and desperation, and a sense of loss. Nothing can be done now. Because I'm dead. But never fear, because I'm alive again now. Then you smell a sickly, moist smell, and you feel dampness all around you. You come back to your senses in the gloom of the family crypt, lying flat on a stone slab. Your parents are on their way to the crypt right now. You hear their muffled voices, they're arguing, and against all rules, Mother will not agree with Father. "Why would Sir Gregor do this? He just took one of our child's lives." "Lydia, my father is our family's head, and the boy raised a hand to him. There was nothing we could do, and Father did admit that he was too hard on him. Please do not anger Sir Gregor. You need to accept this. It will never happen to any of our children ever again." Their voices grow quiet as they lean over you. You lean on your elbows trying to get up from the stone. Mother gingerly wraps her cloak over your naked body as you shiver from the cold. "My son, your first death came far too soon. I know it may be difficult to realise what happened, but know this. The twin gods are ever merciful. You are a child, and your time to leave for the hereafter has not yet come. You will be returned here by the gods twice more, but do not tempt fate again, and never, ever defy those who could so easily take your life. Niklaus, you have angered your grandfather dearly. Do not stand in Sir Gregor's way ever again, and he will never hurt you again. For now, just stay away from him. Father stays a step away from you, not saying a word. When Mother finishes talking, he picks you up and carries you outside. Together, your parents take you from the family crypt. On your way out of the crypt, you take a moment to touch your head. It's perfectly fine. There's no sign of a blow. Back home, Grandfather is still walking through the house examining the rooms. You can see that Stefan and Gloria are disturbed by what just happened. Nathan starts crying when he sees you. The playroom still reeks of burnt paint. There's something new about you now, a pitch black stripe on your left arm. It looks like a strange bit of dirt at first, but it won't wash off. It will be like that forever, Mother explains. That is all she will say of it. The ant farm. So, Mama has brought me an ant farm, and we play with it for a little while, but now I can keep playing with Mother, or I can play by myself. Okay. While I do need the perception, I also need the willpower. So I'm going to keep playing with Mother, which I did in my main playthrough, because it's the nice thing to do. She's bought me a toy and she wants to play with... Well, it's not a toy, is it? She's bought me this ant farm, and she wants to play with it with me and teach me about the world using this as a metaphor. And it was just rude if I go, no, get away with you. So we'll play together. I'm still exhausted, but slightly less exhausted now, so that's good. So our illustrious guest is Baroness Elodar. Yes. Oh, sorry, Lady Elodar. And she has been invited to the house by Grandfather to basically become Robert's new wife, because he doesn't like Lydia, because he's awful. So I can choose what to do when she arrives. I'm going to walk away with Mother, because it will negatively affect the reputation, which is, I think, okay. It will get me the perception that I need. So I've done this multiple times before, so I go up with Mother, and she's very, very grateful. It upsets Robert a little bit, but I don't care. Could definitely do with some willpower. Well, this is quite handy. Kaleidoscope, so I have been playing with Gloria's kaleidoscope all day. Because my willpower's too low, I can literally only keep looking through it and playing with it, which I did in the main playthrough, which will get me the willpower I need, so goody goody. Would have been nice to have the boost on the other stats, but, you know, can't have everything, can we? Okay, so Grandfather has caught me and Gloria sampling his sweeties, which is just a violation of our lots. But I've had one, Gloria was just about to have one, and she got caught, and then I got caught. So I'm going to tell the truth, which will knock my willpower down a little bit, but it gets me some more perception. Either way, whatever I do gets us beaten mercilessly by the miserable old bastard. Okay, so I'm on 0 willpower, so that's fine. My perception and determination are in a very good standing. I'm undergoing my sacrament. I'm going to go with the most priestly option, and I'm just going to accept it, which will knock down my determination by 1, but it will improve my perception. So we've done this before, so as it says, we literally just accept it, and we thank the twins for our lot of suffering. Cheers, buddies. Okay, childhood done. So I have 5 determination, 7 perception, 0 willpower, and I've died. So I need to aim for spirituality on this. Throughout adolescence, spirituality is king.
I was growing up fast. The school, the streets, and the whole wide world awaited me beyond the gate of my parents' house.
Everybody, say hello to Thomas. Thomas, say hello to everybody. This is our introduction to Thomas, who will become our bestest buddy all throughout youth. And it starts off with a fight. So Thomas's brothers pushed Nathan down because Nathan was talking shit about their house. He's coming crying. I've gone out to be the big brother and faced with Thomas, who's a lot bigger than me. So what do I do now? So now I can actually do spirituality things. I'm going to try and resolve the matter peacefully, which is what I did in the main playthrough. So I try and talk it out with Thomas as the big brothers. We should act responsibly and sensibly, and he takes umbrage to this, and it gets in a fight. I mean, whatever happens, we get in a fight, and then we run away because we hear Thomas's dad, and then we think, you know what? Let's be friends, and we do. We become friends. Spirituality increased. Hopefully in this playthrough Thomas won't die like he did in the last one. I felt real bad about that. Okay, Riders on the Road. So this is where we meet Sophia and think, oh, she's gorgeous. And then she nearly gets trampled by horses. I may as well do it. It's going to give me my second death, which is far too young to have received my second death. But that's fine, I guess. Because I get spirituality out of it. Yeah, why not? Okay, we've done this before, so I'll die. That's fine. Okay. So hopefully I'm not going to regret the fact that I've died twice already. It's a very strong possibility that I'm going to, but hopefully not. So Stefan's come home from the city and we're having dinner, and he's, due to a series of events, has said that Gloria should become our waitress for the evening. Because he's awful, but I'm going to join her because the other two don't really get me anything I need, and this gets me willpower, which I could use, so I'm going to join her. Then Mother joins us, and we spend the evening being servants, basically. But we do a great job, so, you know, there's that. Okay, so the dropped handkerchief. So we have seen Octavia Melanidas, and she's beautiful, and she's dropped her handkerchief. So I think I'm going to just keep the handkerchief as a memento because it gets me 10 willpower. Yeah, nothing else really benefits me that greatly. And this gets me extra willpower, so yeah, we'll just do that. So it's the night before my exams at school, and everyone wants me to do different things. So Father wants me to study law, Thomas needs help with our fort, and Mother wants me to study theology, or I can spend a moment with Nathan. Obviously, I'm going to do theology, which I don't think I've ever done before. So that will get me spirituality, which is good. That's what I need. You push Nathan out the room. He can't possibly help you prepare for the exam. With him out the way, you delve into the books of theology. Your mind is awash with the names of saints and zealots and concepts of the divine. Your studies tire you out so much that you fall asleep among the books until Mother wakes you up gently and sends you off to bed. Come morning, you barely have the time to wake up before you walk into the menacing edifice of the school. The entire day is a constant stream of school subjects demanding knowledge, questions demanding answers. You demonstrate satisfactory knowledge of law and history, though you're somewhat confused by the technicalities and chronological order. It feels like the day will never end. But the end does come at last, the theology exam. As luck would have it, it's the final test of the day. The teacher, a priest, starts asking you questions. Surprising even yourself, you provide coherent answers for all of them. You quote eminent theologians on why and how the lot of the clergy is to provide spiritual guidance to the other estates. When the questions require examples, you quote prayers and lives of saints you've read with Mother. You earn the highest grade on this exam. Back home, you're overjoyed to tell Mother you aced the theology exam. She pats you on the head gently and says that you should tell Father how you did in law and history. Not so well, Father. Because I'm not going to be a noble, I'm going to be a priest. Diedrich, the school bully, he's been tormenting Thomas, basically. And it's kind of come to a head, so I am going to admonish the nobleman's sons, which I did in the main playthrough, so I basically say, well, hang on a minute. Diedrich's a commoner, just like everyone else. Just because his family's noble doesn't make him a noble. He has no right to be doing any of this. All of you guys, you need to pay attention to your lots, or the twins are going to be real mad at you. Or something to that effect. This, for spirituality, this is not going too badly. Adult question. So I think I had this one in my main playthrough, but I've not had it since. So basically Nathan, which is the story of Nathan's life, he's really struggling to find his place in the world. And at this point he's convinced that the twins just hate him, and that's why he can't really find his footing. Because they just despise him so much that he's suffering unnecessarily because of it. And because, obviously, I am the future priest extraordinaire, I'm going to dispel Nathan's fears, which I did in the main playthrough as well. So just basically tell him that, yeah, okay, the twins are harsh, but this is how they show their love, basically. So I am 5 for spirituality, which is good. Damn it. Damn it, damn it, damn it. So, the Silver Tree. I'd forgotten about this. So, we're on a school trip to the Silver Tree, and we've got a few different options. So we can go with Jen, who works in the church, who wants to kind of tell us more, the temple, tell us more about the temple. It's a redhead pilgrim, which is talking about what is going to become the new faith. I can go to the tree by themselves. Ideally, this would be perfect, the given to the Epiphany, but I forgot that you needed the Insight Destiny for that, which is playing with the ant farm by yourself. It's fine. We'll follow the girl in the temple, because that's an introduction to Jen, and... Oh no, I lose a bit of willpower on that. Oh no, never mind. I'm going to stay with the redhead pilgrim, because it gets my spirituality up. Never mind. I may come to regret this later, if because Jen's currently on -1 relation with me. If I'm going old faith, she becomes an inquisitor. We'll see. Gloria has gone off to the ruins of somewhere to write her poetry, which is obviously not a good thing. She's been cornered by some ruffians. Me and Stefan have gone to find her because she's gone to a dangerous place. And now we're going to get into a fight. So the last few times I've done follow your brother's order and call the guards. I am going to charge the attack because that gets me +2 with Stefan, which probably isn't a bad thing to have. So we'll do that. I'm pretty sure we've never done this one before either. The louts try to flank Stefan and surround him. Your brother's sword thrusts and feints methodically, like in a training bout. The thugs keep dodging and jumping away. They've managed to stay safe so far. If things continue like this, soon one of them will flank Stefan, kick the sword out of his hand and bring him down. The ruffians are paying no attention to you, however. For a moment, you want nothing more than to run away. You belong to the common lot. You're not allowed to bear arms, not allowed to fight. But then you take one more look at Stefan, who is almost surrounded, and at Gloria, sprawled out on the ground. I can't act in any other way, can I? Your brother's words ring in your ears. You can't run. You have to help him, no matter what. You pull a heavy rock out from the old wall. The tow-headed leader of the gang appears behind Stefan's back, ready to knock him down. No time to think. It takes you 3 steps to get to the foe. No time to think. You bash the thug in the head with the rock. The wretch stumbles and falls down. Stefan seizes an opportunity to strike and lunges at the louts. They scatter under his blows. You hear screams and the swishing of the sword. You assault them too, swinging away with the heavy rock, until you catch something pointy in the side. A wave of pain washes over you. Blood starts flowing down your side and onto your leg. Stefan shouts something, but your mind is already fading fast. When the darkness disperses, you find yourself lying in bed. Stefan's in the armchair next to you, reading a book. He's alive. With left arm in a sling and a black eye, but still alive. As for you, it hurts so much when you try to breathe. You can't help but moan quietly. Stefan looks up from the book. Don't try and get up. You lost a lot of blood. Fortunately, the Archduke's guards got there too late to see you swinging that boulder around. They'd have shown you no mercy otherwise. But I'm impressed, Nicholas. You were unarmed, but you still fought. You acted in defiance of your lot, that much is certain, but you fought for our family's honour. You know, brother, the nobleman's lot is also a great burden that few are able to bear. It takes courage. Not to fight everything you see, but to do your duty. Each and every decision a nobleman makes becomes part of his family's legacy, flowing in the blood tides, forever. I think about it often. A nobleman mustn't act weak. A nobleman mustn't suffer like the people of the nobleman lot. A noble must rule over them wisely. A noble must ensure that they have work to do. It's not merely your own lot you have to look out for. You have to ensure that 1,000 others can live by their lots as well. And there are so many more matters to take care of. Honesty, dignity, tradition. It's tough, but it's what it takes to be a nobleman. Do you understand what I'm talking about? For the first time in a long time, your brother looks at you as an equal. It was a pleasure to fight side by side. I'm glad you and I are brothers. Cheers, bro. You're still shit, though. So the day of the trial has arrived for Stefan's assailants. In Gregor's infinite wisdom, he says that we shouldn't mention Gloria at all because it will only complicate the trial and bring shame on the family. We should weave the tale that Stefan and me were out for a walk, we got attacked, he defended us. So I will support Father, which is what I've done before, but it's kind of the best option I have at the moment. Either way, they all hang to death, but still. Gloria doesn't like it. But we've got a bit of reputation up though, so that's something. Sir Gregor Brante is on his deathbed and wants to right all the wrongs in his life by burning Mother to death. I'm going to do exactly what I did last time and run away and rescue Nathan and Gloria, because while that does impact our wealth, it also increases our spirituality, which is good. So we'll do that exactly the same as last playthrough. So Mother does die, sadly, but it's only a lesser death. She comes back again, and Gregor dies his true death either way. So silver linings. Now we have to go pay our respects to Sir Gregor, which seems ridiculous as he just murdered Mum. So yeah, literally the only option I have here is to give the dagger back and not partake in the blood rite, because I didn't seize the noble lot in my sacrament, and Sir Gregor didn't like me enough, which, you know, so that's fine. We'll give the dagger back. We won't partake. Nathan won't partake, and I get some willpower. So it's not the end of the world. So Sophia has come back to town, but she'd been given to Dorius Otten as a servant, and he was very, very abusive in multiple different ways, so she ran away, and we figured out where she was hiding, so we've gone to check on her, and he's found where we were hiding. So the last couple of times I've helped Sophia flee. This time I can try to stop Otten, which is interesting, because we've not done this one before. You pull yourself together and walk slowly to the half-collapsed doorway. Sophia stays behind. The tall, young Archnean stares you down, his condescending smile dripping with scorn. In your most assertive voice, you answer his question. He'll find no fugitive girl in this house. What are you doing here, boy? I wasn't speaking to you. Get out of my way. Otten needs no permission to enter, so he steps inside. You stand in his way. You've already assured the young Archnean that there is no one else inside. You've done him a great service. What makes him doubt your words? Why, you lowlife. How dare you stand in an Archnean's way? You must have lives to spare. Otten backhands you with immense strength, enough to send you flying. The Archnean draws his sword, it rises into the air, but then one of his men shouts, "Sir, there she is!" The Archnean turns around and briskly walks away. Sophia used your distraction to climb out the window in the back. You jump to your feet and escape the house in the same way. Sophia's slight silhouette is gaining distance far ahead. One of Otten's men is chasing her down, ready to catch her at any moment. But then, something unbelievable happens. Oh, that was very shrill. Sophia lets out a dreadful scream, and the air around her sizzles with golden sparks. Otten's man falls to the ground, clutching his head. Sophia freezes for a second, as though uncertain of what she just did. What's that? Otten screams at her right next to you. So that's how it is, eh? The wench is a witch. Seize her! Magic. Sophia's a witch. Sophia's silhouette disappears down an alleyway. Otten's men give her chase, but they'll never find her in the dark, sprawling district. You watch her go. Will you ever see her again? The runaway girl becomes talk of your district for an entire week. You overhear that Sophia managed to flee the city. The Ottens are furious. After this sudden appearance, she disappears from your life once more. You'll not see her again until much, much later. I mean, I will. Probably in all of about 10 minutes. Oh, so it's my last night before leaving for Eterna to start my new life in whatever I choose to do. Clergy. And I can spend time with somebody, so I'm going to spend time with Mama, which I've done before. So we're going to spend the night in prayer, and we're just going to have a nice little chin wag. But it gets me +2 spirituality, which pretty much, well, it doesn't max it out because 10's the max, but it gets me very, very close. Either way, my theology and eloquence are going to be in quite good standing when I go into youth. Okay, so as a recap, 1 nobility, 2 ingenuity, 9 spirituality, and 20 willpower, and I've died twice. So maybe not the greatest thing in terms of death, but hopefully that will not bite me in the anus.
Leaving my hometown behind, I set out for the capital of the Empire. There, I would discover my role in society.
Okay, so diplomacy is 8, manipulation is 9, Theology is 16, good, because that only needed to be 10. Valor is 6, and Scheming 7, and Eloquence 14, which again only needed to be 10. Good. This is good. So Path of the Priest. Cool, so I didn't need them both, I only needed one, so that's fine. I've gone overkill a little bit, so we're going Shield of the Old Faith. So I need to make sure I maintain willpower and side with the Old Faith. That's what I'm going for. Let's do this. It's my first night in Eterna. I've got a few options. It makes sense for me to go visit the Great Temple of the Twins, because I've done the other two before, and this, you know, fits into my narrative quite nicely. So we'll go do this. I've never done this before, so nice. You follow the worshippers and barely make it into the overcrowded Great Temple of the Twins. Even this enormous hall of stone is not enough to fit so many people. The commoners' half is absolutely packed. There are no free seats at all. The crowd is buzzing in anticipation. You hear reverent whispers. The preacher for today's evening service is Father Ulrich, one of the leaders of the punitive branch of the church. A man dressed in a long black cassock and wearing a silver cross appears on the raised platform by the altar. He bears a rolled scroll by his side, held tight by a silver seal. You try your best to see his face. Chiseled features, sunken cheeks, bald head. Father Ulrich looks at the crowd with his steely eyes, and the hall falls silent. Ye who live in Eterna, I see before me the faces of true believers. We are not united before the twins, yet in our faith in them we are united. The twins are the guiding light in the darkness of our life. The twins are the only incontrovertible truth in this world. So says Isaiah in his first book, the twins are the law, and will, and love. But the will is above all. From this will came law, and love too was born from the will. The twins and the will bring us those three gifts, and so the great Archnean Empire came to be. The twins had the will to lead us, and so we are no longer lost in the darkness, now guided by true faith. The twins brought their teachings to us when the Empire was founded, and so they created the very foundations of our lives, the knowledge of the lots and of the hereafter, and of the paths we must follow in life. This is their legacy and their gift to us. So heed these words. You who are righteous and live by your lot, you shall be brought to the peak of the shining pillar for an eternity of bliss. But you who live in defiance of your lot, you shall endure eternal suffering at the foot of the pillar. Every soul will face the stern gaze of the twins upon their true death, and answer for every misdeed. There is no escape from this judgment. So heed my will, for it is the will of the twins. Follow your lot in life, and follow the words of Isaiah, and then you shall reach the peak of the pillar, awaited by our gods. You've heard these words many times, in the temple, in your theology lessons from Mother, and in the pages of books, but Father Ulrich's speech reaches far, far deeper. It seeps into the very hidden depths of your soul, breaking, binding you to the will of these words. There's no resisting this will. Father Ulrich is right. There's no task more crucial than living by your lot so you may face the judgment of the twins in the hereafter. All doubt you had before your visit to the temple is gone. You feel joy at each word spoken by Father Ulrich. The truth was revealed to you all along, yet you allowed it inside you only now. You know the twins are always watching over you, always guiding, always protecting, always judging. The sermon ends in the small hours of the night. The sky is tinted by the pink shade of the coming sunrise, and the shining pillar standing tall against the heavens. You return to your lodging, prepare all your things for the coming day, and drift off to sleep free of any fear or doubt. We've stumbled across Luke's sermon, he was sermoning about the new faith, and then inquisitors have come in and broken everyone up, and we've been spoken to by an inquisitor. And because they are all about the old faith, I'm going to listen to his counsel this time, because I will be one of you soon. At this crossroads in your life, in an unfamiliar city, you honestly need advice. You lower your gaze and ask Father Jeremiah to show you the way, and guide you from error and doubt. The Inquisitor smiles and takes your hand. My son, All of us may sometimes stray from the path predetermined by the twins. You're well dressed, yet I presume you are of the common estate, are you not? You nod, and Father Jeremiah sighs. In these difficult times, people of your estate are the ones tormented by doubt. Your lot is suffering, but not all of you are ready to suffer. Some turn to guile and cunning to avoid it, and they end up in eternity's embrace at the foot of the pillar. Please understand, my son. Your lot requires humility. Suffering is inevitable, so is doubt. Each of them may temper your soul, yet each may also destroy it. But know this, if you have doubts, you are always welcome at the temple. No priest will turn you away in a moment of weakness. This is why we exist, to fortify faith in the hearts of all people, to bring the word of the twins to those who have gone astray. Know this, the Inquisition does not imprison everyone suspected of heresy. We exist to protect souls, to guide and save them. We pursue dangerous doctrines and seek to rescue every soul we meet. Arrest or execution is our last resort, reserved only for sinners beyond redemption. You can see that I am merely speaking to you right now. I have not resorted to force, nor am I giving you orders. You are following your lot by hearing my counsel with humility. With this in mind, consider the following. Did the Patriarch speak the truth? You considered this question. Your fascination with Patriarch Luke's speech has vanished. Was it a sermon or a temptation? The Patriarch of Archnia made you doubt your faith and your lot. He made you see darkness and doubt. But all this time, your lot has remained the same as the one you were born with. You fold your hands in prayer and thank the Inquisitor for his counsel. The light of the twins will keep you on their path, and not even a Patriarch will ever be able to intervene. Only a new sacrament, and not your will, can change your lot, you explain. And only the Imperial College can lead you to a second sacrament. Your voice starts shaking as you say this. Father Jeremiah notices. This is not the only way, my son. You can always come to the Divine Seminary and become a priest. If you come to the seminary and prove you deserve the lot of the clergy, you will be accepted. I teach there, and I am always happy to see students of considerable talent. Your connection to the twins is strong indeed. Only people such as you have it in them to guide and care for others. The work of a priest is no less important than the work of a judge. You bid farewell to Father Jeremiah. While you were talking, the world around you seemed to vanish. There was just you, him, and the word of the twins. The square is calm now. The Inquisitors are providing counsel for those who remain. Patriarch Luke and his retinue can no longer be seen. You walk back to the lodging house, mulling over Father Jeremiah's words. Your family sent you to earn a noble title, but you have an opportunity to become a priest of the old faith or the new. If you see your destiny in service to the gods, no one has the right to stand in your way. Damn right they don't. I've been out on the town with my best friends, my group of besties, and they're all splitting into different ways. So they're going to a dueling club, secret salon, or the Markian Society. None of these really seem to fit in with what I'm doing. However, the Markian Society does give me theology. So I'm going to agree to join the people who have traded away the bliss of the hereafter for all pleasures of life. Which definitely seems like something I don't want to be doing if I'm going into the clergy, but still. You wander through the alleyways of Eterna with your group of pleasure seekers until you finally reach a towering stone building with purple pillars. Such a show of wealth seems ludicrous. You'd expect something more humble and modest for a society of commoners. The air inside is stuffy and filled with noise. You smell fragrance, tobacco, and sweat. The hallways are covered in soft carpets. People wander through the building, dressed only in light cloaks that leave their chests and shoulders bare. You can't tell which estate they belong to. The main hall is enormous. On the floor you see dishes full of exquisite food, including meats, fruit, and sweets. There are many beds spread out across the hall on which men and women are engaged in shameless pleasures of the flesh in full view. Their cries and moans fill the building with a cacophony of lust. Ooh. In the very centre of the hall is a circle of shouting people. Inside the circle there are two half-naked men. One of them is busy punching another in the face. You can see bone through his bloodied knuckles, yet they keep on fighting. What is going on here? A man dressed in only a thin, translucent cloak offers you a cup of wine. You accept it and take several big gulps. The spirits warm your body and bring you the tranquility you desire. Next, you're offered a pipe with an odd smell about it. You hesitate, but still put it to your lips and inhale. The strange smoke clouds your mind, but a few moments later your head feels clear and unexpectedly light. You stumble forward in this strange state, bumping into people until you reach the feast on the floor. The meat is incredibly delicious, the wine too. Your doubts and fears are gone. This place is worth any risk. The cries of other people in the house ring in your ears. Accept pleasure, reject suffering. Why wait for the peak if bliss is waiting for us right here? A silly, intoxicated smile appears on your face. You nod and shove another piece of meat in your mouth. Strong arms wrap around your shoulders. A stunningly handsome man has approached you. His flowing hair falls to his bare chest. He's dressed in nothing but a thin loincloth. He kisses and licks your fingers gently, then guides your hand to his chest. Oh, okay. I'm down. Oh, okay. Apparently not. I was down for some drunken experimentation. Don't judge me. You hear a heavy blow, and the front door is smashed to pieces. This, and the sound of screams, is enough to bring you back to your senses. Men in black cassocks and silver crosses around their necks barge into the building, accompanied by armed guards. Next comes a terrifying shout. In the name of the Inquisition, you're all under arrest for the crime of heresy! The half-naked men abandon their fight in the centre of the hall and throw themselves at the Inquisitors. The bulky, grey-haired man with broken knuckles is among them. He takes a sword in the throat. His former opponent, a tall, thin, young man, falls to the floor with a crossbow bolt in his bare chest. The others freeze, unable to move. They're bound by barely visible white threads, seemingly woven from the air. The divine power of the Inquisition's clergy. Uh-oh. Panic spreads throughout the house. Intoxicated and exposed men and women rush to the front door, but the Inquisitor's allies await them with their swords at the ready. You dash away from the door and into a room with an open window. You jump outside and run. Run until you're out of breath and out of strength. Your jacket was left inside and your torso is uncovered. The cool night air does wonders to clear your head as the pillar lights your way throughout the alleys. At last you return to your lodging house and tumble into bed. Your feet hurt, your throat aches, your breath is ragged. Your eyes still see the horrors of that night. Grown men immobilised by the twins' divine power, bloodied bodies cut down by steel, naked pleasure seekers with faces distorted by fear. Perhaps the Inquisition has rescued you from the worst error of your life, one that would have led you to the foot of the pillar. You fall asleep only at sunrise. There you go, I've got all of my my bad things out of my system now. I'm now only hard for Jesus. Sophia has come a knocking, and she knew that you were an Eterna, so she has come along and said, "Hi, remember me? I need your help. There's a guy called Dextra who needs rescuing due to the nobility finding out about his fake noble heritage, and they're going to kill him. So I can help her, which is what I've done every other time before, or I can refuse. I think I may as well still help her. No, I'm going to refuse, because I don't really need to keep Sophia on side. I've never done this before, and I feel like diplomacy could be quite helpful." No, you say. You're not going to help Sophia. You're not going to break any laws for her sake. You did not come to the capital for this. Which I didn't. I came to spread the word of the twins and their old faith, which is the only faith. Now get out. Dextra, a fake noble, deserves his fate. He tried to fool the law, the college, and the empire itself. Even a scientific genius must be punished for such forgery and deception. He had a paper that said he was a noble, but only a sacrament can make a person noble. So Dextra's crime is also an affront to the gods themselves. Sophia leaps to her feet, her eyes burning with wrath, about to shine with yellow light again. You cringe involuntarily. Your law makes slaves of us all. We're born, we live, and we die, all to serve those who were born in a higher estate. Is this the order you want to protect? The fire in Sophia's eyes fades. She suddenly grows silent, then continues calm. Then so be it. I don't blame you. It's not easy to break these chains when you've been wearing them ever since you were born. They bind you better than any magic. I hope you realise this before our great empire chews you up and spits you out. Goodbye. Sophia leaps. The door shuts behind her. You return to your books. The entrance exam is coming up, and you have to work hard if you want to achieve your goals. A few days later, a newspaper article catches your eye. Bartholomew Dexter, an elderly lecturer at the Imperial College, was arrested while attempting to escape the capital. The scholar was sentenced to breaking on the wheel and subsequent true death for forging a patent of nobility. Oh, breaking on the wheel sounds awful. And so the fake noble suffered in death as he was supposed to suffer in life. Ugh, grim. Grim.
I will never forget that day. For it was then that I chose the path I would walk for the rest of my life.
It would be great if I don't have to deal with Philippe El Ferro at all in this playthrough. That would be real nice. A boy can dream. So I'm on the way to the college for the entry exam to start my career, and Igerius Monrogue, an Archnean, has come out and said, "No, you know what? You humans, you don't deserve nobility, so I'm shutting this place down." I'm paraphrasing, but it's essentially what it is. So every other time I've gone this, I've followed the lot list, but now I'm going to preach my revelation. So I preached the twins' vision to the people, because while everything was going on, I had a vision of basically the world on fire, which is basically what happens, or what has happened at the end of my last playthrough. So I'm going to preach my revelation. The will that guides you is now beyond your own. There's no point in resisting it. The twins speak through you now. You have to follow the will of the twins. You must. You must tell everyone how close. You must tell everyone how close they brought themselves to the point of no return. You walk up the stone stairs, raise your hands, and start speaking loudly. Through the din of the mob, the clanging of steel, and the preaching of priests, your words still reach the ears of the people. There will be a dreadful fire in the city of the Silver Tree. In its flames, the ancient order will be lost forever. The gods' wrath will be upon the empire, and the land shall be soaked with blood. Their judgment will come, followed by the deaths of all that lives. The last thing the world shall see will be the twins' faces, shedding bloody tears for their beloved creations that have gone astray. Such is the world's fate. Yet it is not too late to change it. As you utter the last words of the revelation, you grow numb and rigid as the vision leaves you. There's a crowd around you now. They hear your every word. They heard the twins speaking through you. A hooded man dressed in a black cassock appears before you. He bears the silver seal of the Inquisition. He is accompanied by two warriors wearing heavy armour, covered in sacred symbols. "Seize the pretender! He dares to preach in defiance of his lot!" They grab you by the wrists, gag you, and throw you into a dark carriage. It takes you to the Inquisition ward by the Great Temple of the Twins. A week of silence. This is the Inquisition's punishment for laying claim to the Lot of the Clergy. You're locked in a tiny cell, a small room normally fit for prayers. The inhuman strength you just felt is gone. You are utterly exhausted. The next week is a blur. You lose track of day and night, of dream and vision and reality. And in these visions, and with your eyes, you see the Silver Tree, growing through the walls and floor and ceiling of your tiny prayer cell. Then, finally, the door opens. They take you outside. You face a thin priest with a shaved head and a piercing gaze. You recall his face. He was the man who stopped Patriarch Luke's sermon. "Good day to you, Brante. My name's Father Ulrich. Your penance is over, and it is a joy to see how you accepted it. Please understand, that penance was for you as a commoner, for such prophecies of warning are the lot of the clergy. But I heard your words there, in the square. The twins spoke to their servants through you. You came to the college seeking education and a noble title, yes? Its doors will open soon, in no small part due to the efforts of Cornelius Tempest. But that is not your path. What you saw, young Brante, was a revelation. I could see why you had to preach, even in defiance of your lot. And yet you still locked me up, you bastards. But truly understanding the will of the gods is no simple task. It is something you must be taught to do. Your future is at the seminary. I can see you're ready to become a priest. The gods themselves have chosen this path for you. I will keep a close eye on your progress, Nicolaus Brante." You walk out of the Inquisition ward, released. The great bell of the great temple rings, echoing over the capital, and you feel a great union with this sound. It resounds within you. It courses through you. It brings clarity of purpose. Before your mind reacts, your lips are already whispering a prayer. This is it. This is your path. The Divine Seminary is right by the Great Temple. Its doors always open, and you enter these doors. The teachers will test you in several days. Before that day comes, you must live in a prayer cell at the cemetery. When the day comes, they put you to the test. A priest examines you on your knowledge of the prayers, the works of the prophet Isaiah, and the signs of the Great Descent. In your responses, you mention the silver tree in your hometown. You mention being at its very roots. The final question comes. What brings you here? You wish to see and understand the will and love and the law of the twins, you reply. The priest nods at your words, satisfied. You are now a student of the Divine Seminary. This is now your new home and place where you will prepare to receive your new lot. You will become a priest. By the law of the Empire, you cannot inherit family properties or titles. You are to carry the word of the twins into the world, from this moment forth, and until true death takes you to the hereafter. Achievement! I'm on the clergyman's path, baby. Cool. Sorted. This will be new, because I've now gone down a completely different route, so hopefully most things from here on out are going to be different. A letter from home. After deciding to enroll in the Divine Seminary, you write back home. It isn't an easy letter to write. Father sent you to the capital to enroll in the college. But who could have predicted Archduke Monroe's assault on the college, or the revelation you found there? Your family replies quickly. You receive their letter in just a week. Father's not happy with your choice, just as expected. My son, I realise that these are difficult times in the capital. Nobody expected an attack on the college. Had you been more firm, you could have upheld your right to study there. Cornelius Tempest will ensure that the college opens again, yet you have already rejected the nobleman's lot. It seems your grandfather was right, but your choice is made, so follow it, and study to become a priest. I did not send you to the capital for this, but I accept your choice. Mother, on the other hand, supports you eagerly. My dearest son, I'm so proud that you've chosen to follow your destiny, even if it means going against your father's expectations. I always knew you were born to carry the twins' word into the world. This is as it should be. Nathan echoes mother's sentiments. The path of the faith may be even more noble from the path of the noble. I'm going to go to the seminary in Anazot like you. We're going to live the same lot, you and I. You always show me the way. You're not surprised to learn that Stefan and Gloria are disappointed in you, each for their own reasons. How could you defy father's will? It cost him so much time and money to send you to the capital, but alas, what can we do? If the lot of the clergy is your destiny, then so be it. We of the noble lot will attend to our family's future from now on. I wanted you to find your own way, you know, and you defied father's will, all to bend to the will of the church. I hope this new lot fits you well. Jesus. Jesus, babe, be happy for me. Searching for the truth. Yeah, we are on brand new territory. Yes. Lessons at the seminary start early in the morning. Before the lessons come, 2 prayers. One privately in your room, and then a communal prayer in the refectory. The morning bell eases you from sleep in the morning. You adjust to the new routine more easily than you would have expected. The seminary students are quite numerous. You've counted more than 30 young adults studying with you. There are both boys and girls, but the girls already cover their hair and keep everyone at a distance. Most of the time, the boys and girls study separately, unless a lesson is of particular importance. The classroom is vast, and the boys and girls sit separately, watching the aged, unassuming teacher with rapt attention. His name is Father Jeremiah Haag. He writes a word in large letters on the blackboard, Isaiah. It's a name you know well. Isaiah was the disciple of the twins, the eldest favourite. He wrote the 2 books that lay down the teachings of the twins. The first book tells of how the twins are will and law and love. The second book tells of the lots and how each of the 3 estates is granted its own lot. For the entire first semester, you will study only these 2 books, for they are the foundations of the faith. Father Jeremiah gives a passionate lecture about Isaiah and describes his life. His words are filled with reverence. After all, Isaiah surely was second to none when it comes to understanding their divine providence. After a dozen days in the seminary as a student, you hear a rumour. Luke, the Patriarch of Archnia, is about to come here, and the teachers are preparing themselves. Father Jeremiah informs you of the Patriarch's arrival a few days later. It is a tradition that every year the Patriarch of the capital province personally teaches a class for the first-year students of the seminary in Eterna. The lesson in question will be held in 3 days. We teachers are aware that many students are too preoccupied with their current studies to attend this lecture, but I assure you, should you not attend this lesson, it will not affect you in any way. The students exchange wary glances. Skipping class is normally grounds for harsh punishment. This uncharacteristic mercy is only a few words away from saying you ought to skip the lecture. Your curiosity is piqued. What's making the seminary teachers treat the Patriarch's lesson like this? Perhaps you should hear what he has to say and see for yourself. You decide to attend the lecture. The day comes. The lecture hall is half empty. There are several teachers in the halls as well, keenly eyeing every student who has chosen to attend this class. A few minutes behind schedule, Patriarch Luke arrives. You recognise his broad shoulders and thick brown beard right away. His eyebrows are thick too, and brown. Half-squinting eyes gaze out from under them. He greets the students with a smile and begins. The air in the seminary is so inspiring. There was a time when I too studied the teachings of the twins within these walls. My mind was overflowing with questions, but I found answers to only a few of them. I believe that many among you find little satisfaction in the answers that have come down to us from the faraway past, and I believe that you will yet find the answers that elude me. More than 1,000 years ago, the twins came to our world. They brought us knowledge. After true death, each of us shall face divine judgment and retribution, and the fate of each of us in the hereafter depends on the righteousness of our worldly lives. You are the students of the seminary. You are now studying the teachings of Isatius, the foundations of our faith. The students of the elder twin lovingly assembled all their words, all their guidance, and brought it to us who live in the present. But how true is it that the lots, the bond that holds our present society together, were indeed established by the gods? There are whispers from the teachers' seats. They're not happy with these words, but none of them see fit to interrupt the Patriarch. Apart from the written works of Isatius, there is no other proof that the twins established the lots and told all the people to follow them. While they were present in this world, neither the elder nor the younger ever mentioned separating people into 3 estates. The twins only told us of the judgment we shall face in the hereafter, and not of the laws by which they will judge us. That being said, I will ask you a question. The very questions my brethren fear so much. Is there not a chance that Isatius was in error? For no mortal man is free of error. And is there not a chance we all are in error by repeating his words? Instead, would it not be more sensible for everyone to interpret the teachings of the twins individually? Perhaps the solution in this teaching of Isatius was right for Isatius himself, and not for all of us. The teacher's displeasure grows louder and louder with Luke's every word. Finally, Father Jeremiah grows indignant enough to interrupt the lecture. This profane speech must end! How can a man of your rank be so imprudent and irresponsible as to confuse young people with such ungodly heresy? You will find that no soul in this very hall will ever doubt the truth that is written in the sacred books. To this, Patriarch Luke smiles again. I am a mortal man, like Saint Isatius, so I may be in error as well. If this is indeed so, and no student of the seminary shares my concern enough to dedicate a paper to the questions I have asked, then I will curtail my dangerous speech, so as not to confuse these bright young souls. But, if perchance you are the ones in error, if one of these bright young souls does in fact share my concerns, then my lectures on my outlook on Isatius and his writings will continue. Patriarch leaves. For a time, teachers converse in low voices. Then Father Jeremiah casts a watchful eye over the students and rises. It is natural for young people such as you to face the eternal truths without doubts, and the words you have heard may have sown themselves among those youthful doubts. But listen to what I am about to say. There is no place for such impiety in the life of a true priest. Heed my words, all of you, and consider the danger well before you allow such dangerous thoughts into the temple of your mind. There can be no doubt that the Patriarch of Archnia could never call the true faith into question. However, youth such as you, who are only beginning their service to the twins may easily be led astray by such ideas, so be mindful of your thoughts and doubts and weed out any impiety, for the path of heresy can lead only to eternal suffering. You return to the monastic cell in which you live. The books of Isatius are right there on the shelf. You open the second book and run over the words about the lots. These words are the truth of truths. You learned them by heart when you were very young. How could anyone ever doubt them? Yet, you cannot deny that there is at least one truth in Patriarch Luke's words, and this truth is gnawing at your mind. Isatius was indeed a mortal man, and as a mortal, he could have been in error. He could have gotten it all wrong. These thoughts fill you with doubt. So reject the doubt and strengthen your belief, which is, I think, what I'm gonna do, because that gets me shielded with the old faith. Support Patriarch Luke, which I'm not going to do. Seek comfort in prayer. So basically, don't pick either. Reject the doubt and strengthen my belief. Old faith is the only faith, damn it! So it's also good to know that when I come to do the new faith, I can we'll kind of do that from here. Everything else up until this point will be the same. The writings of Isatius are the very foundations of the faith. The lots of the twins' will, a timeless constant throughout the ages. There can be no error. There is no place for sinful doubt when it comes to this. Soon the days end, and the next day begins. Before you know it, another week passes. You immerse yourself in learning the work and functions of a priest. You read both books of Isatius over and over again, and learn the best parts by heart. On prayers, on cloister and seclusion, on confession. You attend many lectures on the history of the church, and on the pivotal changes that followed the twins' great descent, and on the strong ties that bind the faith and the state together in the empire, and on the dogmas of the church. You also learn the proper way to speak so the sound of your sermon reaches every ear in the temple. You work hard to learn and memorize the sacred works. Soon, you start learning how to properly cite them in order to back up your own judgments. There is an answer to every question in the works of Isatius. You just need to know how to find it. The teachers praise you now. Father Jeremiah is elated by your knowledge of Isatius' writing. By the end of the semester, nobody even remembers Patriarch Luke's visit. Father Jeremiah does mention his words in passing at the very end of the semester when everyone hands in their research papers. He nods in approval as he thumbs through a stack of paper sheets covered in handwriting. Very good. It's fair to say that no student of the seminary went so far astray as to defend the impious notions of heresy, and, truth be told, I am happy to know I was right about you. It is my hope that your example will serve to guide even your superiors within the faith away from such senseless conjecture. But right now, I want to read some passages from one of these research papers that impressed me the most. Of all the papers in the thick stack, he chooses yours. You did go the extra mile to write it. It's an in-depth study that attempts to prove that the twins themselves were speaking through Isatius, and that the teachings of the lots came not from a mortal man, but from the gods. Father Jeremiah clearly enjoys reading a few choice paragraphs from your work, nodding in agreement all the while. He gives the conclusions of the paper particular attention. The lots are inviolable and sacrosanct. They are the foundations of the estate and the society. They are the will and the gift of the twins. Oh, what an exemplary statement, young Brante. Why, thank you. I am in fact a prophet, so if anything, you should report to me now. Just the way it is. Cool. I am Old Faith MVP, the Black Book. Your studies at the seminary continue. You assist with the preparations for church holidays and the study of the accounts of the twins' lives and the sacred scriptures. The seminary sends some of its students on a pilgrimage to the holy sites of the empire to follow in the footsteps of one of the twins. A large group of these pilgrims return to the seminary several weeks after your studies begin. Among the students in this group is a young woman who looks familiar. She holds her head high as her brown eyes, filled with wisdom and strength, study you attentively. She approaches you first. It's Jen. You met in the past by the silver tree in Anazot. Jen was but an acolyte at the Temple of the Tree at that time, but now she's an eternal like you, almost ready to complete her studies. I remember you. I'm glad you're here. So you found your way to the priestly lot after all. It's nice to see a familiar face from your former life. You start spending more and more time with Jen, praying and reading the sacred scriptures together. Most of the time you discuss theology, but the more you learn about each other, the more you start discussing your lives before the seminary. You tell her how Mother prepared you to serve the twins ever since you were a child, from daily prayers to following your lots in everything. As for me, I don't know who my parents are. I grew up in an orphanage by the temple. Studying at the seminary has been my goal since as long as I can remember. The priests were kind to me, and now it's my sacred duty to serve the twins. With the first term exams behind you now, you're allowed to visit the antiquarium, a special storage chamber for sacred relics and artifacts that harken back to the history of faith. You invite Jen to go there with you. The inside of the antiquarium is quiet. The items you see beyond the glass panes and on the shelves are nothing short of amazing. One thick, ragged tome is an original work inked by Isatius. You see old images of the twins' likenesses faded with time. You behold the lash used in the very first sacrament of the lowborn Lot. The relics made of silver, the twins' blessed metal, are kept in a separate chamber. You take some time poring over these handcrafted sacred symbols. The shelves of the opposite wall are covered with silver collars, large and small. They're so elegant. The things we make are much simpler nowadays, always cast from silver, not forged by hand. Look, these old collars even had names stamped into the silver. Another wall is covered with thin silver slabs, prayers to the twins etched in the metal. After taking the priest sacraments, any priest may use such a silver slab to call the god's power down upon their foes and work wonders, even outside the temple grounds. Do you think these might be copies? Silver slabs disappear when they're used, don't they? Just imagine the temptation, working wonders anywhere just like that. There's one more chamber at the furthest end of the antiquarium, with only one relic within, the only room here that's guarded. Your voices trail off when Jen and you feel the eyes of the chamber guard upon you. He bears a scroll with a silver seal on his cassock. An Inquisitor. What the Inquisitor is guarding is a black book, its pages blackened, seemingly by fire. The book lies inside a spacious cage, forged of time-faded silver. You're not allowed to approach it, the Inquisitor says. What is it? You ask. The Inquisitor sighs and glances at the silver cage with worry and scorn. This is the most dangerous and vile of all relics in the land, he says. It's a monument to the Dark Ages, when Archneans used to fight one another for power. A time when one of the great Archnean dynasties defied the twins' chosen tempests. The Archnean who owned this book was Shar-Malanadas. Driven by helpless rage, he scorched the land of Magra and ravaged the Imperial army with a terrible curse. But the twins' power stripped him of his dark sorcery, and the Holy Order brought him down. The book within this cage contains his sinister spells. What the Inquisitor says seems unbelievable. The books that you've read say that all of Melanidas's relics were destroyed. He explains, however. Apparently, the book was utterly impossible to immolate. Even the god's divine aid, the countless raging pyres it was subjected to, could only blacken the pages with ash, but not destroy them. The dark magic remains within the book, preserving its blasphemous sorcery. But the book alone was not enough. The rebellious Duke turned his very land into a weapon by destroying it. The Holy Order, the swords of the twins, surrounded Melanidas's forces along with the Imperial army. Their victories were numerous, for true faith guided them towards the city of Anazot. With no other way to prolong the war and nourish his magical powers, the rebellious Duke squeezed all life from the land of Magra and transformed it into a dark society. The rebellious Duke squeezed all life from the land of Magra and transformed it into dark sorcery. And so, the province of Magra, ruled by Shah Melanidas, became an infertile desert during that war. The people of Melanidas began dying from sickness and famine, and many fled to the neighbouring lands. Yet, this evil act did little to stop the twins' true believers. By the prayer of the priests, the gods took away the dark magic of Shah Melanidas and dispelled the accursed sorcery he had wrought. The Holy Order dealt swiftly with the remnants of the Melanidas army, while the Inquisition captured all of the mages and witches hiding in Anazot. Shah Melanidas himself was executed as an oathbreaker, possessed by heresy, who destroyed the fertile lands of Magra and starved thousands of his subjects to death. Be wary of magic, for magic is an ungodly power that distorts and plagues all it touches, and so must be eradicated, the Inquisitor concludes. These words seem to affect Jen deep. She turns pale and walks out of the room. You thank the priest for his story and follow her. You find the poor girl sitting on a bench in the park by the temple, her face hidden in her arms. You lightly tap her on the shoulder and ask what's troubling her. When I came to Eterna, I wasn't alone. I had a friend, almost a sister. Her name is Alice. I had one goal here, to serve the twins, but she wanted to be an actress. I argued against it. I told her that acting was in defiance of her lot, but Alice wouldn't listen. She's performing in taverns now, and in markets on holidays. I went to one of her performances once, just the other day in fact, and I saw her eyes glowing yellow. Every time her eyes flashed, the people would applaud her. She's not just defying the lot, she's using magic. Alice is practicing the dark arts, confounding people's minds with sorcery. Alice, we know Alice because we rescue her in the March of the Collars for the Lotless. We rescue her from being burned at the stake. I was far enough away her spell didn't reach me. I want to, but I can't tell the Inquisition about her. Alice is my only real friend in the world, and she's a witch. I don't know what to do. Jen's shoulders tremble with anxiety. Her brown eyes are red with tears as she looks at you, hoping for guidance that will save her from error. What do you tell Jen? So I'm thinking, I'm going to tell no one about Alice, because I wasn't sure about this one, but the little blurb at the bottom actually makes a lot of sense. The twins are law, and yet the twins are love as well. It would be best to give Jen's friend a chance to reconcile with the twins on her own. Which is good. Because, Alice isn't hurting anyone? Hopefully this is fine. You look away from Jen and ask her a question. Does she feel any evil in Alice's heart? Will she ever use that power to harm others? Jen shakes her head. No. Alice would never do that. But what will she face in the hereafter? How will she be judged? If this is true, you say, then there is no need for the Inquisition. Why do you say that? Because your friend is no Sharmalanalas, you say. She's not killing the land, she's not defying the God's chosen order, she's not starving thousands, and she will never harm others. If Alice remains free, she will have a choice to willingly reject her accursed power and accept the lot she was dealt. But if the Inquisition finds her, she'll be stripped of her lot and turned into a limp mockery of a human bound in a silver collar. She'll never find her way to the twins in a house of humility. How dare you say such a thing? This is heresy. The twins abhor all magic. The twins gave people the lots, you say, and they gave them the will to live their lives. The younger shall meet us all in the hereafter, and every decision shall be judged. The mages have their own burden to bear, their own trial to overcome, and that trial is their power. They must overcome it, or fail and face punishment at the foot of the pillar. Jen leaps to her feet, anger burning in her tearful eyes. And what if the Inquisition finds her? They'll burn her at the stake, and then what? Before that happens, Jen should talk to her friend and explain her situation, you say. Jen must take care of her and teach her how to hide her power. The best way for a witch to stay alive would be to flee Eterna and join a travelling troupe. Jen thanks you. Her voice rings with calm confidence now. She sees that firm faith does not mean zealous dogmatism, you realise. She's had to break the law for the sake of love. The twins are law, yet the twins are also love. Okay, I think that was an okay decision to have made. Matters of faith. The months fly by now. Every day at the seminary is filled with study and work. You're being trained to live by your new lot. There can be no rest from service to the twins. You're well acquainted with your instructors now, and with each passing day you come closer to being their equal. Every month you and your class learn more and more about sacred scriptures, and the life and routine of the church, and how to guide others to live by their lots. You learn about the founding of the church and the 3 councils at which the twins' first disciples first established the dogmas of the new faith. When the first council meets, they pronounce that the twins' faith would be the only faith throughout the empire for all eternity, and that the Tempest dynasty would rule the land by their will, for they were chosen by the gods. The first council also condemned all magic within the empire other than the wonders sent down by the twins themselves. The Inquisition was created to enforce the order established by the twins and cleanse all heresy and sorcery from hearts, minds, and bodies. Mages and witches were offered two choices. They could either accept the collar and reject their powers, or perish in the ritual of purifying flame. When the Second Council met, the Holy Order was founded. It became the mighty sword wielded by the Church against its enemies. Nobles who sought to serve the twins with their arms formed the ranks of this order. When the Third Council met, the two books of Prophet Isaiah and the accounts of the twins' own lives were deemed the sacred scriptures of the faith. It was then pronounced that no more councils would ever be convened, so that the foundations of the faith could never be warped. The main dogmas of the faith are the very same for everyone. However, the seminary students prepare for the lot that lies ahead in different ways. Some of them study the scriptures, spending hours at the temple every day, attending every sermon, and mastering the art of preaching. Jen often appears among their ranks. These preachers ardently follow the age-old traditions and dogmas, doing everything just as it was done hundreds of years ago. Others, you call them supplicants, rarely attend sermons, but spend plenty of time in prayer rooms and temples and by the altars. You know these supplicants are seeking the twins within themselves and looking for them in the signs and revelations they experience. There are still others you've never seen during sermons or in prayer rooms. You only see them during lessons. When a lesson is over, they cross the gate of the seminary and disappear into the city, often waking you up when they return in the small hours of the night. The secret society, you call these students, who are clearly united by a shared mystery. There are only a handful of them. When they meet, they sit at the same table and speak in hushed whispers, falling silent if anyone tries to approach them. You've not joined any of these groups yourself. For now, you spend your days and nights in study. Today is yet another ordinary day at the seminary. You sit in the common room, reading a book, when Jen approaches you. Why are you always alone with your books? You should learn from your elders and attend sermons if you hope to walk the path of a priest. We can go to the next sermon together if you wish. You promise to consider her offer. As priests, you would be bound by the lots to the will of the twins, not the will of your instructors. Still, the will of the twins is a mystery, and their revelations are ever involute. Come to think of it, learning from senior priests and studying their habits might be the best way to understand your lot. Lost in thought, you look at the enigmatic handful of students sitting in the faraway corner of the hall. What mystery are they hiding? What path have they chosen to walk? You need to decide on what to do next. One way or another, Jen is right. Your books will never do your preaching for you. So join the preachers, search for the divine within myself, infiltrate the secret society. I'm going to join the preachers. The bell summons everyone to the evening sermon. You step inside the temple and walk towards the great hall, where you spot Jen among the crowd of students. The group of students nod to you. Jen smiles brightly when she sees you. Together, with the others, you hang on the preacher's every word, repeat the scripture passages he cites, and pray with other students. After dinner, your group assembles in the seminary yard. Jen looks at you inquisitively. We're all testing ourselves, seeing if we can preach on our own. You'll never succeed if you never try. How about you try preaching to us? Let's see how you preach a sermon of blessing. You spend several minutes mentally preparing, then begin to speak. You aren't especially nervous, but maintaining a proper cadence and intonation turns out to be quite difficult. Every word you say must serve to guide others to live by their lot. This turns out to be harder than it seems. You describe your first encounter with the silver tree, how its majesty left an impression on you, how you later read about the same impression from many books written by others, how you realised the greatness of this gift from the twins to the people. Your congregation reacts with quiet approval. Your first sermon seems to have gone rather well. As the days go by, preaching to the crowd gets easier. You see the sermons at the temple in a different light now, taking note of the figures of speech, the changes in tone, the reactions from the congregation, writing down the priest's most crucial expressions. These realizations are combined with everything else you've learned at the seminary, and together they coalesce into speeches and sermons that can inspire and motivate. In addition, as you learn to cite the sacred scriptures by heart, you see your memory improve and your thinking become more regimented. Your words, thoughts, and actions become more pure, more sincere. At the same time, a strange feeling grows in you. Every day is a walk along the same path, a repetition of the same words. Each new sermon that you give seems to bind you more and more. It feels like you're always being watched now. watched closely by an intense, implacable gaze. Implacable or implacable? I'm not sure. A gaze, either way. Ooh, a criminal relationship. High drama. Spring is in full bloom. The city of Eterna is a sea of flowering trees. The apple trees are particularly prevalent. You see them growing everywhere in the seminary yard alone. How nice it would be to sit there with a good book, enjoying the apple blossoms and getting lost in important thoughts. But there's no time for that. A recent incident has the entire seminary on edge. One of the senior seminary students has been accused of having a relationship with a witch. Oh. The Inquisition have been watching the girl for a long time. When their lovers met and the girl put a floral wreath on the student's head, the Inquisition spies saw it all. The lovers were immediately arrested. You hear about it from Jen. She looks very anxious when she comes to you to discuss the news. Are you going to watch the trial? They're only allowing priests and seminary students to attend. We have to be there. It's an important case. We could learn much from seeing a holy tribunal in action. You agree with her. After all, the case is highly unusual indeed. Unius Diamonds, one of the leaders of the New Faith, has stepped forth to defend the students and the girl. You already met the other leader of the New Faith, Luke, Patriarch of Archneum. But Patriarch Unius holds much more authority. The seminary students speak of him in hushed voices, and only when the instructors were not around. Junius Diamonds is more than a patriarch of one of the provinces. He's an Archnean, hailing from one of the greatest dynasties and the leader of the Holy Order, the Empire's finest knights in service to the Twins' Church. The prosecution will be represented by Father Ulrich. He's a powerful inquisitor and the head warden at the House of Humility, the fortress that collars all mages and subdues their will to the service of the Inquisition. You've heard of him. He's a fierce man who's ardent and merciless in the service to the Twins. The day comes. The spacious courtroom is filled with people. All the seats are taken. The judges sit at a long table upon a platform. There are 10 of them, all high-ranking members of the church. To the right of them is a man in a black cassock. His head is shaved and his back is perfectly straight. This man, Father Ulrich, a true and lawful inquisitor, will represent the prosecution. To the left of the judge's table stands an Archnean. He's wearing a white cassock, with a cape of white and gold on his shoulders. The Archnean's blue hands rest on the edge of the table, and his expression is that of perfect calm. This man, Patriarch Unius Diamonds, will represent the defence. To the left of him sit the accused, a young man in a seminary uniform and a young girl who looks like she's just come back from the foot of the pillar. They are both bound in chains. Even from your distant seat, you can see that the Inquisitors have shown her no mercy. The girl's face and neck are covered in bruises. There are bloody wounds on her left hand where her fingernails should be. And her right hand bears a horrible black burn. Loud voices emanate from the stalls even before the trial begins. Some chide Patriarch Unius, while others call out Father Ulrich. There are more and more of these shouts with every passing minute, and soon a judge's gavel can do very little to rein them in. The trial begins. Father Ulrich is the first to speak. Judges of the Holy Tribunal, and you, my brethren, this is an act of sacrilege beyond compare, committed within the walls of our own seminary. This man is a venomous viper, nurtured in the church's bosom. He defied all that is forbidden and engaged in an act of hideous lechery, already a malefaction. But worse yet, the object of his lust is an abhorrent, sinful witch. The young woman in question looks up. You see the colour of her eyes, vibrant, radiant emerald, green like the tender grass of spring. You recall a cautionary tale. Such eyes are the mark of a mage who holds sway over wildlife and nature. This blasphemer deserves nothing less than true death for what he's done. The walls of the church are no place for traitors and licentious filth. We who bring the will of the Twins to the world may afford no weakness. As for the witch, put her in a collar and cut off her nose so that her comely appearance may never again lead a righteous man astray. Jesus. With that, Father Ulrich takes his seat. The man who rises next is Patriarch Junius. He is as tall as a pillar, and you feel an inexplicable power emanating from him. He takes his stand before the judges. Even before he speaks, Jen winches in disgust. To her, an ally of the New Faith deserves neither tolerance nor sympathy. Yeah, New Faith sucks. He's already drenched in sin, and yet he thinks he can talk justice. Junius Diamond begins to speak. May it please the tribunal. The accusation is indeed true. The young man before us is at fault. It was his duty to convince the lady he had befriended to renounce all magic, and yet he encouraged her profane practices. But Father Ulrich's proposal is far too severe. I seek no lesser punishment for the witch. This is a matter of the Inquisition, but the young man need not be executed. His life is the subject of my debate. It was not by force that the young man now stands before us. He sought the twins entirely of his own volition, and so I plead with the Holy Tribunal to spare his life. May he instead take the vows and the habits of a monk, and a vow of silence, and be subject to corporal punishment, for the ways of the Church are stern but fair. This young man need not lose his life in order to redeem himself. An accusation flies from the crowd, so Junius favours mages and takes them under his wing in his province. Look at the man who dares doubt our lots and rejects the Orthodox faith. We won't let your kind gain ground in Eterna. This, in turn, sparks a different cry. Another voice accuses Ulrich of being drunk with the power he has acquired by enslaving those who wield magic. Patriarch Junius attempts to pacify his followers as accusations from the Inquisitor's side keep coming. Father Ulrich marks each condemnation of Junius and the New Faith with an agreeable nod, his mouth a crooked smile. The crowd begins to move. Those who side with the Inquisition start pushing against the guards to exact their own brand of justice. Junius's followers do not stand still either. They rise and form a circle around the Patriarch, as well as the man and woman on trial. Accusations fly, and the air above the crowd grows hot with boiling rage. People are pushing and shoving. You hear screams of panic among the cries of outrage. You and Jen find a temporary refuge on a podium rising above the human sea. The courtroom is becoming dangerous. You must attempt to escape now or risk being trampled. There's still time. Time for either Patriarch Junius or Father Ulrich to say something, to calm the crowd, and remind them why they're here. But they both froze in confusion, unable to rein in the coalescing madness. Perhaps you could make your voice heard from atop the crowd, or would it be more sensible to escape the chaos of this courtroom? I think it's time for us to leave. Yeah. You take Jen by the hand and leave the courtroom before the conflict reaches its culmination. You push and shove through screaming inquisitors, frenzied seminary students, and red-faced followers of the New Faith. As you leave, the hall behind you erupts into screams of rage and pain and fighting. You ask Jen if he wants to stay here and see the end of the trial. No, I've seen enough. This is too much like what happened to Alice. I don't want to see what happens next. Let's get out of here at once. You make your way back to the seminary courtyard, where the apple trees are in bloom. There are so many white flowers you can barely see the leaves behind them. After the din of the courtroom, the quiet here is deafening. So quiet you can almost hear your own heartbeat. Jen looks up with a quiet sigh and touches the white petals. It feels so strange. It's like we're back in Anazox, beneath the branches of the silver tree. I wish I could feel that calm again. Don't you agree? Carefully, Jen's hand touches yours and squeezes your fingers gingerly. Then, suddenly, she embraces you. You gasp with surprise and place your hands on her waist. Is this a chaste hug? Or perhaps... Her breath feels hot on your neck. Her eyelashes flutter against your skin as her arms glide up and down your back. You're not priests yet. You're not yet bound by the new lots. And for now, anything is possible. She smells so good. A lock of hair tumbles out from under her headcloth. You gently touch this lock with your lips. Hours, minutes, maybe seconds pass like this. Then suddenly, Jen moves away and looks at you defiantly, biting her lower lip. You smile in return. She will embrace you once more, will she not? She steps back. You part ways. Jen heads for the prayer room. You walk back to your monastic cell. Still, you look back once more before you leave. Jen's there, watching you go. When she catches your eye, she looks away and leaves. Woo! Woo-hoo! Oh, damn. The Second Sacrament. You wanted to speak to Jen again, but she disappeared the next day. Some say she was sent somewhere else to study. Strange. Why did she tell you nothing? Why didn't she say goodbye? You keep waiting for news from her at first, but as the days go by, your thoughts turn to the upcoming exams and the Second Sacrament. All the sacred scriptures, holy procedures, and sacred hymns have been memorized long ago. You know the names of every disciple of the elder and the younger, all the patriarchs of the provinces from the very first to present day. And most importantly, your faith is strong, and your confidence is unshakable. The exams are behind you now. On the day of the Second Sacrament, you come to the great temple of the twins, already dressed in a priest's cassock. Father Jeremiah holds your belt in one hand. He will conduct your sacrament. His other hand holds the sacred book. You are about to kiss it to show your complete submission to the will of the twins. You approach the altar on the commoner's side. The jagged floor hurts as it bites into your bare feet, but there is a hint of pleasure in this pain. You kneel before Father Jeremiah on the lowest of the steps leading to the altar. He speaks the words of your new lot above you. Thou shalt now carry the will of the twins to the world. Whoever cometh to thee, thou shalt give him guidance. The twins are love, and will, and law. Thou shalt bring it to the world. Thy new lot is to interpret the lots and give counsel in faith. Arise, priest. You kiss the book and stand up, confidence blooming within you. You now know the answers to all questions. You're now a messenger of the true word, the one who carries the true understanding. You have the power to guide people towards a righteous path, to help them see the truth, to help them find answers. For the twins will it so. New strength fills you. By the grace of the elder, you may pray to him to heal and cure those who suffer. By the law of the younger, you may pray to him to bind your foes with his wondrous power. When no one is looking, you reach for your back. The mark of the lash is gone. You feel as though you can breathe more easily now. On the morning after, you are to conduct the sacrament for the first time. You walk into a small temple on the outskirts of Eterna. Acolytes are running to and fro, preparing for the ritual while you repeat the words of the lots that you must tell the children. Slowly, the temple fills with people. You stand at the altar now, the sword in one hand and the lash in the other. 3 boys are to receive the sacrament today, a little nobleman and 2 lowborn boys of the same age. The noble boy's parents are nervous and ask you to hurry with the sacrament, and so you begin. With confidence and proper pace, you recite the words of a noble's lot to the little boy kneeling before you. Then you carefully bring the flat of the sword to his lips. The boy kisses it, and you thank the twins under your breath. Now it's time for the common children to receive their sacraments. You notice movement in the temple out the corner of your eye. Someone is standing in the doorway. It's the silhouette of a woman. You recognize her. She looks sterner now, harsher, but the most striking feature about her now is her eyes. They're cold, yet curious. Something glints on Jen's belt now. It's the silver seal of the Inquisition. Do continue, priests. The boys stand before you, just like you and Nathan when you were boys. You were just like them at your first sacrament. The older of the 2 kneels on the jagged floor. He winces slightly but holds back tears. You recite his new lot for him and strike him twice with the lash. He shudders, yet humbly accepts the first suffering of his life. They bring the other boy to you next. He's kicking and squirming, and his face is red with tears. They force him to kneel, and he falls on all fours. The floor draws blood from his hands. Adult hands hold him still. Adult voices chiddy him angrily. You say the words of his new lots and strike him once with the lash. The lash cuts right through the boy's shirt and soaks it with blood. The boy's cries turn into screams. You raise your head slightly and notice Jen's watchful eye. She's there, waiting. You look back down at the boy. He looks so much like Nathan. Just as frightened, just as distraught, just as defenseless. You hesitate, unsure of what to do. The ritual must be finished. By your lot, you must bring forth the will of the twins and perform the sacrament of suffering. But this little boy huddling at your feet is so young. He will no doubt see so much suffering in his life. Perhaps you should show him that the world can be merciful too. I mean, 'tis my duty. The boy gets whipped. In the name of the old faith, in the name of the gods. Cool swap. The twins care not for your tears, child. You cast away all doubt. You muster all your will, and the lash cuts through the air as it strikes the boy's back again. His skin parts. His blood drips onto the floor. The boy gasps for air, doubled over in pain, then sags in the acolyte's arms. With a stern voice, you tell him to rise and live by the lot he's been given. The boy barely gets back to his feet, then walks back to his mother, panting. You hand the sword and lash to an acolyte, then turn to face the altar and say a quick prayer to the twins for this day. You hear quiet footsteps behind you. I'm glad to see you didn't hesitate. You must never show mercy if you're to carry the will of the twins. You helped that boy understand the full burden of his lot. That is a blessing that will guide him towards the peak of the pillar. Jen puts her hand on your shoulder, yet she hastily removes it, as both of you hear a powerful voice that would make anyone shudder. You sure have a steady hand, Brother Nicklaus. You hastily turn around to see Inquisitor Ulrich appear from the shadows. Has he been watching you perform the sacrament this whole time? Father Ulrich, you were correct after all. Brother Nicklaus is ready to become one of us. That is for me to decide. Jen frowns but falls silent, pursing her lips. Ulrich turns his heavy gaze to you. For 2 years I have been watching you, Nicklaus. Now the time has come for you to join our ranks. Ulrich hands you a scroll with the silver seal of the Inquisition. Brother Nicklaus, the Church is appointing you an Inquisitor. You are to return to your native land and protect our true faith against heresy. Jen pierces you with an intense stare. You bow your head and accept the scroll from Ulrich's hands. Then you solemnly fasten the Inquisitor's insignia to your belt. By the will of the Church and the gods themselves, you are now servants to the Holy Order of the Inquisition. Henceforth, your life belongs to the Order. You shall fight against any apostasy that threatens the Church and her flock. Cast aside your doubts, Inquisitor Brante, and be ready to fulfill your new, righteous duty. Prepare yourself to set out for Anazot. A special assignment awaits you there. Sister Jen will accompany you as a fellow Inquisitor. She will tell you everything else you need to know. With that, Ulrich abruptly turns away and leaves the temple. Your answer is not required. The will of the Church is the law, and you must abide by it. You're left alone with Jen. Your sister in faith betrays no emotion. Her words sound sharp and dry. The time has come to bid the capital farewell, Brother Nicklaus. We're leaving for Anazot tomorrow. With that, Jen leaves you alone in the temple. You turn back to the altar and finish your prayer. Whew. I have received my second sacrament. I am now rightfully ordained as a priest. A farewell to the capital. The Reglata and Talrina rivers meet outside the city walls. You've barely left the capital since you came here all those years ago. A breeze is blowing in your face, and the bright noon sun hangs above the shining pillar. Your stay in Eterna has come to an end. You arrived here a boy, full of hopes and aspirations, driven by your family's expectations and a desire to live your life as you saw fit. And now you have to leave. And this thought fills you with gentle sadness. Eterna did not become your home, and yet here you realise that you can be a messenger between the will of the twins and the people. You are the hand that shows the way, the interpreter of the gods, the man who guides others to the peak when they depart from the hereafter. You've never felt so close to the twins, but now you carry with you the love and wisdom of the elder, and the law and power of the younger. After your second sacrament, you started seeing the twins' presence in this world everywhere. What will you see back in your hometown, or by the silver tree? You've been chosen to serve the Inquisition. Now you're more than a mere priest. You are the shield of the Church that wards away its enemies and false doctrines. A pain in your chest, right under the twins' cross, echoes this thought. The schism between the Church and the new faith began in Anazot, but the city is still your home. Changes are coming, and as Inquisitor, you will have to face them. You think of Sister Jen often. She was your only companion during the years of study in the seminary, and now she will teach and assist you in your service to the Inquisition. What is the connection between you? Who will you become for one another? You exhale and close your eyes, feeling the riverside wind blowing in your face. Many things must have changed back home by now. Does Mother still pray to the twins 3 times a day? What about the others? They used to repeat the sacred words after her back then. What about now? Nathan probably still follows Mother's example. Every letter he sent has been filled with elation over your choice of the priest's lot. Nathan failed to enter the seminary of Anazots. He said he got too nervous, and he wrote that he was ashamed of not being able to follow in your footsteps. But being ashamed of failure is against the commoner's lot, you wrote back. The commoner must humbly accept failure, just as he would accept any other kind of suffering. You should cheer Nathan up by bringing him a souvenir from the capital that will remind him of you, a token of love that says you believe in him. After giving it some thoughts, you head to the temple for a book of prayer. You find the great temple of the twins surrounded by the usual calm and quiet. There are no loud voices coming from the people, no loud cries from the merchants. You approach a small bookstore by the temple grounds and examine the prayer books one by one. You search for one with the proper prayers for everything Nathan needs, for the good of the family, for humility, for meekness, and for following one's lot. A small book finds its way to you. The sturdy leather cover feels good in the palm of your hand. You thumb through the prayer book and nod. Everything you're looking for is here. You leave the capital the morning after in a carriage hired by the Inquisition. Eterna, the city where you spent 4 years, slowly disappears on the horizon. Will you ever see the capital again? You don't know. The prayer book is in your hands. After 4 years in the capital, you return to your home city of Anazot. Or Anazote. Well, that was fairly successful, I would say. We've definitely got everything we wanted out of this. Be interesting to see what the hell Peacetime has to offer, because obviously everything to do with Peacetime before was about the print shop and Felipe El Ferro and everything like that, and now it's completely different. But that's going to have to wait for next time, because I am out of time. So next time, I'm going to do all of Peacetime in one video, which means it could be quite a long one, but I want to do that. If Peacetime ends up being a lot shorter for the priest lot, then I'll roll that and Revolt into one video, but I'm thinking at this juncture, there's probably 2 more videos left of this run through. I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this a lot. This is good. It seems a lot more mellow than Revolt, funnily enough. But it will be interesting to see where the Inquisitor's route takes us. Well, yeah, tune in to find out. So, if you want to check this out for yourself, then the link to the game page is in the description. If you have any comments about what I've done, if you have done something wrong, if you want to see me do something a certain way, then let me know, leave me a comment. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, then why don't you go ahead and hit the like button, the outright zealot of the old faith that is the subscribe button. Make sure you bad boy. And until next time, love you, bye.